on back roads, through thick brush, deep in the forest. Target practice for Ukrainian soldiers is more necessary than ever. The Russian invasion of their homeland now marching into its 7th month.
It's important to prepare soldiers for the war going on in the country right now.
Lieutenant Colonel Sergei Ilyin fought on the front lines during the Crimean War from 2014 to 2017. Now, for the first time, he's letting cameras into this secret volunteer army training camp on the outskirts of Kiev that he helped build back in March.
There are not enough training centers in Ukraine, and this one could be even bigger, but we did the best we could.
Now a volunteer himself after 17 years in the National Army and a stint as a bodyguard, he's back dedicating his time to save his homeland.
I feel like I'm doing the right thing. Hopefully that will be counted when the time comes.
And the time is now, with the war intensifying across Ukraine. Around 30 soldiers learn tactical skills here every day, like Mykola Milovanov, who trained at a nearby camp.
If we don't kill them, they will kill all of us, our children, our nation, our language, our history. They will just destroy everything, and we know what we're fighting for.
And what they're fighting against as missiles continue to rain down on Ukraine. Here, just 15 kilometers outside of Kiev, the back half of a Russian tactical Scarab A missile is still lying right here in the woods where it was shot down. Commander Yuri Vovik gives us an exclusive first look at the crumpled metal carcass. He says Russians fired almost a dozen more just like it into the forest following outdated intelligence about an old outpost here.
We thank our army for having the opportunity to shoot it down and keep people alive.
Adding that constant training means troops are always set to spring into action.
We are ready and waiting for the enemy. They can come at any minute and we will be ready.
He says the rockets that splintered trees and blasted craters in the forest luckily didn't cause major damage to property or people, like they did in the Bucha Irpin area just a few miles away, destroyed by the Russians back in the first days of the war.
This is damaged, that's damaged, everything is damaged.
Sergei Chernyshov and his wife escaped before the attack and are physically unscathed. But they returned to find their house, built by his grandfather decades ago, now uninhabitable, decimated by bombs and bullets.
Of course it was painful. If I was 30, that's one thing, but at 65, to fix all of this, it's really hard.
But Chernyshov is grateful things weren't worse. He says his neighbor was killed.
If we would have stayed, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Commander Volvik says the tragedy only fuels their fight.
All the horrible things that we have seen in the Bucha, Irpin, Kiev region keeps us motivated to do whatever we can in order to protect this place from Russian invasion.
It's not just the army making sure soldiers are well trained, but also volunteers making sure they're well stocked. Milovanov and his unit organized supplies donated from around the world, loading up behind the building, fearing Russian spies tipping off their location, headed back to the front line with a full truck and a full heart.
It's a lot of people behind your back.
When the war broke out, the architect put down his pencil and picked up a rifle, fighting already in the Bucha, Irpin, and Kiev area, and also on the Eastern Front in Kharkiv.
But you know that you must be here because it's your land.
A similar sense of responsibility and patriotism coursing through the veins of Dr. Olga Kobevko, who sees patients in the morning and volunteers in the afternoon.
It's not just a wish to do or not to do, it's something that we really have to do. Every citizen, every person in Ukraine, because it's work.
Kobevko started her nonprofit back when Russia invaded Crimea 8 years ago, collecting medical supplies and other necessities for frontline fighters.
Our soldiers do know that we volunteers give a piece of our heart. They know that we are with them.
That support and those donations pouring in from so many organizations trying to save lives. Volunteer paramedic Yelena Lanivska's field bag filled by one of these groups.
Ми завжди на поготові.
We are always ready. While we are sleeping, my bulletproof vest, my first aid kit, and my helmet are at my side, so I'm ready to start working at any minute.
Lenivska turned 23 in March, only one day after getting the call that her fiancé was killed in action.
Мені хотілося,
I didn't want to believe it, but I realized it was only a wish not to believe it. His best friend was there and witnessed his death. It was a bullet to the head.
While she waits in Kiev for her next assignment, she lives by the phrase on her Instagram profile, "Crying has not given freedom to anyone yet."
скоріш за все, це
I'm aware of my duty and what I need to do.
More than 300 miles away in the western city of Chernovtsi, air raid sirens wail. A soldier nicknamed Val, who didn't want to show his face on camera, is headed to the doctor to find out if his battlefield concussion will sideline him from the rest of the war. He says knowing everyday people are stepping up to help keeps him going.
It actually inspires me and gives me strength to continue, to go forward and to be strong. It's an enormous motivation.
Motivation that Commander Volvik hopes will join forces with their rigorous training to push back the Russians once and for all, especially as he says more trouble is coming, and not just in the east.
We will wait and see what happens, but I'm pretty sure the Russian troops will come here from Belarusian border as a distraction for our other armed forces.
Armed forces who are ready to use their training to fight, and to fight until Ukraine is free.
We're going to keep fighting. We can't go back. We have nowhere to go back. We are on our land. We're here and we are Ukrainians.
In Ukraine, Justine Miller reporting.